Hey besties, I'm Jet.
And I'm Victoria, and welcome to the Book Besties podcast.
Special episode 1 of the Tea Time series, Sarah J. Maas on Call Her Daddy. Special shout out to everyone who attended our watch party today on Discord. Of course, Victoria, Jet, Alka, Maya, and Liza.
Thank you for joining us.
I will put their Instagram just down here so you guys could give them a follow as well.
So, for those of you who have not watched the interview yet, there are plenty of spoilers in there for all of her series. So, beware, we will be dropping some spoilers here, but we're going to try to keep it to a minimum and we'll let you know.
Okay, wow. I was shocked when I heard those spoilers because obviously, like, I haven't finished the whole Sarah J. Maas universe books. And I
Right,
was like,
let's tell our watchers where we are right now, specifically
okay,
in the
so
series.
we actually are both reading kind of like the same thing right now. I'm just
Yeah.
like, but we are currently reading the Throne of Glass series, currently on Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn tandem read.
And in the ACOTAR series, you are slightly ahead of me. You read
Yes.
Frost and Starlight. I have not yet.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure you're gonna read it in like one go.
No.
It's a pretty short
How can
book.
you not fly through her
Absolutely.
series?
Yes, especially now that I heard from you a little bit earlier that you are now more committed than ever to her
Oh
stuff.
yes, now Tog has become my top series, and after listening to her interview, it's become even more of my top series. Like if it could not exceed that, it has. It has. I fell in love
Absolutely.
with her. I mean, what was the thing
Me
that you fell
too.
in love with her the most about through this interview? Because I feel like we both did.
Honestly, it's just her opening up about healing. I think it takes so much out of you to even, like, first of all, acknowledge that
Yeah.
you are going through something and that you need help, but also being able to share that to your audience. I feel like she didn't need to do that at all, but she chose to do it. That is so empowering for me. I even
Absolutely.
had to like think of things that I'm, going through, like, although it's not the same, but it's just like the way she processed it is like, could I take notes from this woman, this queen, and, kind of let it apply to like what I'm going through with my life. So it really makes you ponder
Yeah,
as a
and
woman. Yes.
absolutely. Even if you're not at the same stage of life, like you said, it's not exactly the same, but the way she's so vulnerable with her story and the way that she could empathize with her characters and then empathize with her fans in the process. Like the
Yes.
way that she's willing to go up to her fans and have deep conversations about the ways her characters have changed their lives for the better.
Yes.
It was beautiful to see that that means so much to her. Her fan base is not just her fan base. They are people who are living the journey with her and her characters and her universe.
Mhm, mhm.
Beautiful.
And there was one, like, as you guys know, I don't know if you've been with us long enough, like following our journey on like Instagram and stuff like that, but I am very new to fantasy. Literally, like, end of last year was my first fantasy book. Before that, and Victoria knows this, I have been reading a lot of like self-help. And we even like, like read
We both
stuff.
were.
Yeah, we both were reading a
Yeah.
lot. It's because like I want to seek help from like what I'm reading, right? Like maybe like to learn a few things. But ever since I started reading fantasy, and I told one of my friends this, I feel like I'm more motivated. I'm kind of like healing while reading it, even if it's not the same story of my life, right? Or
Yeah.
I don't know why, what's the reason, but during this episode, it kind of made sense to me that sometimes we get like bits and pieces out of it that might not be exactly what, like it might not be very clear, but it's there and it's here. And it's like, like I can't explain it. Like
Yeah.
I don't think I could ever explain it, but it just woke up something inside me that, okay, now I understand why I actually feel more alive reading about these fantasy books. Is because sometimes it's just not surface level. It's not teaching us what's right or wrong, but it teaches us how to feel.
How to feel, how to approach relationships in such a nuanced and delicate way. I think that's the way that she approaches through this interview, that's how I feel she approaches her characters, is she allows them to make the mistakes that help them grow. And that sense of empathy for her characters, and then she finally extended to herself later in life when she sought help, when she sought a therapist to talk through whatever she was going through. And to me, that was beautiful to see that Selena, and like right at the beginning, I was like, I feel so much of Selena in her.
Which
Like they're
yes.
almost like one and the same. And that journey and the way she described her adolescence, and how like she was the top girl in middle school, but then in high school she got lost and she was finding herself through stories, but not enough, such that she needed to build her own universe. That's what I saw in Selena, but in a different way. Like you're saying, like it's not direct, it's not literal.
Yep. Mhm. I am like post podcast. I'm like I have like almost like no words for this girl, this woman. It's one thing to have like all those books written by her, but to be inspired by her on like a different level in a sense through her life story is another thing.
Yes. One thing that I think is particularly key here in this interview is that she talked about the whole Resan hate train
Right.
with the pregnancy. And it was very personal to her because she had such a difficult time with her
Mm,
pregnancy. And the fact that she had a difficult time, but and yet she could extend the grace to Resan to make a mistake like that and still find it in herself to, or find it in Feyre to forgive him for that, is something that speaks volumes to her as an author and as a person.
right.
And I hope that more people could start to see that her characters are real. They're dynamic. Like no matter how amazing and high up or holier than thou we may all put Rhysand, because he is amazing, he will still make mistakes, and that's okay.
Yes, he would always be caught in like kind of a crossfire of making the right call. And it doesn't mean that he did make a bad call. It doesn't mean that, he's a bad person or it defines who he is as a person or even the relationship.
Yes,
Uh,
especially the relationship.
Yes. Guys, we haven't read Silver Flame, so all of this is kind of like a spoiler for us as well.
Yes.
So if if we're thinking about this wrong, just like, I mean, our comments are open. It's just in in a sense of just like hearing that. Like I think it's even like a beautiful thing. Like I've been seeing a lot of spoilers online about like Farrah's pregnancy. And going back to that very thing that we were talking about of like it doesn't really define their relationship because sometimes even in what seems to be like the most perfect relationship, even with your soulmate, even if, you know, it's the right partner for you. You are bound to make mistakes at some point,
Absolutely.
but it's about how you pick yourself back up, learn from it, and how you apply that learning moving forward in your relationship. And I think that's such a huge thing to learn also. Given that like some of these guys that well, actually almost all of these guys that we read in her books are almost like not real. And you can't find
Right.
and, like, it's where do you find these people? But, yeah, no, probably so hard to find. But making them seem human in a sense that they make mistakes, kind of, like, make it kind of relatable in a sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and talking about relatability, like that's the thing that stood out to most to me throughout the whole interview, is that she felt so relatable. The way that her humor, her sense of like seeing the world and describing awkward relationships, like or conversations with people, like the mom who was like, "Oh, my daughter has sex life has improved because of your books." And it's like, what am I supposed to say to that? She's just so incredibly humble
Mm.
despite this legacy that they described in the interview. And I could see it in her demeanor too. The way that like at first she was a little bit tenser, she used the crutch word like a lot, and then you slowly see her like pulling up her legs, and then she like shifts back a little bit in her chair. It's just all these things make me feel like she's a real human behind all these books.
Oh my gosh, I thought of that too. I was like, I still can't believe that the author or the writer of, like, these books that we are reading is actually just merely human.
Yeah! And she's gorgeous. No doubt she's gorgeous, but she's mortal.
She's
She's in the
mortal!
book in front
Exactly!
of us.
In front of us. Yes.
Yes, and so when she was being asked about, like, "Well, how do your fans feel when they see you in person?" And then she would literally go up to them, I'm like, "I want to be on the receiving end of that. Like,
Mhm,
please catch
mhm.
me in a bookstore with her books and say hi to me, please."
I know. It's so funny. Oh, when she talked about how important it is to also have your tribe with you, and she's like, "Okay, it's one thing to have a partner, but having your friends right next to you also means a lot." And we see that in Silver Flames, right? With Nesta and I think there's 2 other girls. Again, we haven't read it, but I just from what I know, um, I think that applying that in that book as well, and then making it, like, very like, I was literally thinking of, like, "Oh, like, I appreciate, like, my friends. So I
Oh, yeah.
appreciate you, besties. I
I
appreciate all you."
appreciate you
Yeah.
all.
That is
And
that is so beautiful.
when she said that, I immediately thought of the Lysandra Aelin relationship. How they can empathize so much with each other, their
So she's really
partners.
big. Like, through her writing, we also see a glimpse of, like, what kind of person she is.
Absolutely. And what is her almost ideal world? Because I think that's what the fantasy genre allows us to have, is that there can be a near perfection. But at the same time, she introduces imperfections in her characters because that's what makes them so relatable. So that actually brings me to a point that I want to bring up about her saying that she was whenever she thinks of a moment of a character, she gets into their emotions and then she'll start bawling, and then her husband will be like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna leave you be, right?" And then she's gonna listen to the same music that evokes that same emotion that she had when she wrote those scenes. And to me, that's like she's almost building that adaptation in her mind already. And for her to then say, I took control back, full rights of the adaptation back so that I could make it into something that is fair to my audience and fair and true to the universe and story I built. When she said that, I was like, that is everything. Like, I will wait
Me
20
too.
years for that adaptation if that's
500
what it
years.
takes. 500,
1,000
a
years. If
thousand.
Risen can wait that long, we can wait that
We can make that long, yes, because and that told me how much she loves us as her fans, her
It's
readers.
taking back that power that
Yes.
is hers in the first place.
Yes, it's hers in the first. Well said, well said.
I think it's also because as someone who's also in the industry, right? Like I somehow know how this thing works. And it is so true. Like when you produce something or when you take the rights for something, the whole process of it, it might not follow the same exact thing that's like happening in the books. And there's more key players in place that could actually be decision makers for what's going to happen with the book. And we've seen that too in like different series or like books. We even see how like sometimes they even like kick out the initial writer of a series and
Yeah,
place a
they and they
different
the
yes.
adaptation goes ahead of the series too.
Yes, yes, we've seen
Yeah.
that happen, right? Or
Mhm.
and sometimes I mean the reality is the authors sometimes don't have the last say when it comes to screenwriting because screenwriters are so different than them. But for her to be really like firm on what she wants and her decision and not being pressured to make the adaptation is again so powerful. It
Mhm.
feels like I made this, I made this. I don't need you guys to validate whatever I made, you know?
Absolutely. And that transitions too into her publishing of the books, like the pacing of her publishing,
Mhm.
where she's like, can't fit into this glue. I'm not gonna let this glue contain me, contain what the story is supposed to be. I love that.
And I think that's how, like, the time that she took to really, go through therapy, heal herself, think about what she really wants. And it's something that we could also apply for ourselves because we might want so many things in life. I personally want a lot of things. Like I do a bunch of things all at once. But for her, she might be in a crossroad of like, okay, like do I want to write all these like books, but then also like what about the adaptation? But being very clear on like what she wants, that it is about writing, that it is writing that she wants to do.
Yeah. When she said she would have waited until 90 for just one book to be
Mhm.
published, that
Mhm.
spoke to your point, like, it's about the writing, her
It's
love of
about
writing.
yes, it's like it's so easy for us to kind of get swayed into doing something that seems cool, that seems
Trendy,
trendy,
profitable.
yes, something big, something that will validate us if we end up
Right.
doing, but being true to your core and what you truly want, what would truly make you happy and what would truly make your life fulfilled is 100%. Like it means more than whatever, you know, trendy thing that's out there.
That and she made that point so clear too when she was like her therapist said, "Well, you're done with everything. What's
Mhm.
next?" And
Yes.
her realizing that she needed to have her family, her life outside of her books to feel like that her worth is more than her books. Like she literally said that. And that spoke to me so much because I'm in a transition of figuring out what I want to do. What do I want to do with my life? And so much of my life was based on whatever title I had at work or whatever title I had at my nonprofit. Now that I have neither, what am I doing? And when she said that, it meant so much to me because, and I see that in the characters of her books too, whereby like yes, Aelin is technically, heir to the Terrasen throne, but she's so much more than that. She has so many layers and depths, and now big spoiler, right? And we still haven't gotten to this, but when she gives up her magic for everyone, that decision says so much about how much she understands her self-worth, but then also what she truly values the most, which is the people she loves.
Mhm. Well,
Beautiful.
thank you for sharing that. You just shared something personal, so thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for sharing personal things. So many things clicked for me, but especially one thing especially is she said, I never got to see women be angry and bitchy the way she wanted to. So she wrote women who could be that way. And the way that she wrote Aelin, so fiery and angry, making a lot of mistakes at the beginning, but then learning and growing in the process and still being so loved by so many men who like worship her. It was so refreshing to have in the Talk series.
Mhm, mhm.
How'd you feel about that when she said that?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Like, I am fiery. I mean, you
I
know
know.
that, you know, and but the thing is, like, as much as, like, people see me as fiery, I am also a crier, like, I could also be very soft, and I think that's why, like, I relate so much with Aelin because regardless of, like, how fiery she is on the outside, I also know that, like, deep within her heart, like, the way she loves the people around her, like, I'm the same way. And the way that she wrote about Aelin and, like, just like you said, that she's still being loved and still being worshipped by the people, on her side, it also opens up this realization that you could be fiery and loud and you could be bitchy at some times, but your people would always understand you and will get you and will see you for who you truly are at your core.
Ooh, yes.
That is so beautiful to me because many, many times I have been misunderstood from being fiery or from being open about my thoughts and my perceptions or being strong enough to be firm with what I think is right. And knowing that and realizing that the people who truly matters in your life will always understand you is such a big validation of of being okay with myself, what who I am, and like sharing that to everyone who's listening to, right? Like to be accepting of who you truly are.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she let it out and then we're
I mean, it's
feeling
only
the
fair.
feel.
Yeah, we're feeling the feel. But it's true, right? Like,
It's true.
and I hope that some of the people, like, also who's reading, who's not the same as Aelin, to learn from it too, because that's also one very special thing about reading this book is not just finding the people we relate to, but also finding the characters that we don't relate to and still being able to understand them. Developing empathy, right? Like developing
Yes.
that like understanding or even not e- or even without understanding them, that just knowing about how they think, that we might still accept them regardless of how different they are. Because I've seen that happen with me. It's like through the different layers of these characters that I read about who I have no like relation to in terms of like who I am as a person, it's like, oh, okay, so like that's how they are. Like that's how they think. And
Mhm.
and sometimes I see people in real life and I imagine like a specific character that that I read about. Did
Yes.
it happen
I
to you
mean, you
too?
texted to me when you're like, "Oh, I think I saw a kale."
Yes!
Yeah.
And even in that moment, I remember I was telling you, I think I just had a meeting with a Kale, and the thing is, like, he was really nice. Like, although a part of me at the back of my mind, like, wanted to kill this person, but it was really like, okay, like, understanding that like, there could be different layers about them.
Absolutely. And that makes me think about when she talked about the whole Tamlin situation. To me, it was she's preaching to the choir in the sense that I felt like it was a lot of his upbringing and the situation with him being basically alone but then being thrown into it. I get also, that doesn't mean she had to forgive him for his actions. That doesn't mean his actions were okay. But it helps us understand where other people that we
Yes.
may experience along the way who hurt us, that most of those people are going to just be pretty broken and you came across them in a broken time.
Yes. And it doesn't, like, we are never forced to forgive anyone.
Mhm.
But
Yep.
it doesn't make them unredeemable. So regardless of whether you are the Tamlin or you are the Pharaoh, regardless if you forgive that person or if that person forgave you, it's not dependent on that for you to be able to forgive yourself and move forward and redeem yourself and learn from it.
And maybe if we put it in the perspective of, can you imagine if Tamlin had his Ouroboros mirror moment? What would he see?
Mhm.
And would that be and would he be able to forgive himself and then be able to apologize for the mistakes that he made?
Right.
Or would he not see them as mistakes and maybe he'd have to have another Ouroboros moment and
Mhm.
another chance before he finally, and that's his journey. But that doesn't mean that Feyre needs to be a part of it. That doesn't mean she needs to
Exactly.
forgive
Yes.
him. Yes.
Exactly. Yes. So Farah also has to know that he can redeem himself, but she doesn't have to be a part of it. And even in the term redemption, right? Like, what does redemption truly mean, anyways?
Mm-hmm. That made me,
Because,
this interview made me ponder that.
yeah, me too. It's not even reaching a certain point of perfection about yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's having that will of being okay to be a work in progress
Mm-hmm.
and just really, standing back up every single time that you fall or you make mistakes, just even if you're just a step better than who you were yesterday. It's not even Tamlin reaching Resand standards, but I mean, but
Yes.
yeah, but okay, so in a sense, and he wants to get redeemed, doesn't want to get redeemed. I don't care, not going to make a difference to me, but he can. And it's interesting to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And talking about like forgiveness, and now I'm actually curious to see how she would apply it into her own life with all of the trauma that she went through with her birth and the doctor. The whole medical system failed her essentially until she found the good doctor. And then thinking about the whole publishing system and how
Mhm.
she was pumping her breasts and 2 weeks after giving birth she had to hit a deadline. I think that when she finally put a stop to all of that and said, I'm going to take ownership of my own timeline, my own story. And she said, I'm not going to let myself be limited by this publishing system and I'm going to publish it the way that should be published. That made me think about the story arcs we see in both ACOTAR and Tog, whereby they're not trying to just relive or go back to the way things used to be. They're trying to shift the system altogether. And that push and pull, that that yeah, that whole push and pull is what she experienced in her own life that's being reflected in the stories, and it's so beautiful to see that she's now finally in her personal life being able to have that ending that we all love and desire in her series.
Speaking of those endings, and I hope it's not the end for, like, everything, but she announced when we are expecting the next books.
And books plural.
Yeah, books, plural. Wow. It's coming up in about half a year, but
Yeah.
once it's out, we're gonna have the time of our lives because, again, like, the next book after that next book is coming out in only a couple of months.
Yeah.
So it's
It's
very
crazy.
exciting, yeah, for the book community.
There's gonna be a lot of commotion and also afterward, then the withdrawal. Like what after that? But then we're getting potentially getting
ACOTAR
like this
8, yeah, the last
yeah,
one.
yeah, and like a special series I think she was talking about? Not series, but like a special like holiday.
Yes, yes, something. I don't know if it's some sort of novella, but, like a little short thing, I think, or she might even, like, release a full novel for
That
I
would
don't
be
know.
lovely.
But all we know is, like, at least there's more that's coming.
Yes, and it's coming soon. At least it's considering the whole timeline, that's pretty soon. With and
Mm,
going back to the idea of the timeline, the fact that she started writing Tang at 16, then published it finally at 26, like she's so patient. That's another thing I love about her. Like when she has something in mind, but at the same time, I was so shocked when she was like, certain characters just appeared. Like she didn't expect Rhysand. She was like, "Oh, Tamlin's endgame," and then Rhysand suddenly showed up, and then she's like, "Where did he come from?" And then her whole crystals, like in her room, like this, and then Montana energy. Like I just love her. She's the way that she thinks is like it's like her outside her mind, but really it's her brilliant mind. She's just so
absolutely.
humble.
Yes. And we see that too with Throne of Glass, right? Like, the original Throne of Glass was supposed to be Dorian Endgame. I still
How would
wanna read
that have
that.
turned out?
I think it's okay.
I think it would have been okay too.
I think it would've been okay. I like Dorian. As long as, like,
Oh,
he
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. And the funny thing is like, oh, my mother-in-law keeps saying that my husband is Rhysand, and she's like, "No, he's not."
No, Reese doesn't exist as of this
No, he
moment.
doesn't.
Yeah,
Well,
he
I mean,
doesn't.
but you went to Valaris to go find him.
No, I didn't find anyone. My husband came with me. My real life mate.
The whole mate thing, the way I wrote that down, the way she described mate and how and we kind of talked about this earlier, but I want to go back to it because she's basically like you can have a mate and it could be both like the mate, like love of your life, it was total match, and then mate where it's like, oh, some nature made a mistake. And I apply that to real life too, whereby you think that some and she described it too, for example, Tamlin, you think that he's the one, and then suddenly, wait, he's not. People change in relationships. Aelin changed as well. She's no longer Selena, she's Aelin, right? Like that topic of mates made me think about how they're always going against the grain in her stories. And even in the concept of mating, it's like you may have this sort of like fated person, but you still have a mind of your own that is pursuing something different. What were your thoughts about that? I don't have a full thought yet, but
Right. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna challenge it a little bit in the sense that when nature made a mistake and giving you the wrong mate, I
mhm.
don't think it is ever a mistake.
Ooh, okay. Keep going.
Yeah, it's just so harsh to say that someone, like, destined to be in your life is ever a mistake.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know. I just feel like I have to say that. Let's just relate it for a little bit to, like, soulmates, because that's basically what it also is, right? Somehow. It's
Yeah.
like there is this fated person that comes into our life that we feel like is the perfect person for us or, like, is destined to be with us.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work, or
Mhm.
it doesn't work for the future you that you envision also.
Mm.
When you meet, like, a person that you ended up, loving as well and thinking, "I truly love this person. I am, getting this, like, attachment with this person, but imagining my life with him in 10 years would be miserable." Because
Yeah, I mean
that's
it
a
does
true thing. Like, I
happen.
mean, I've
It
watched
happens.
about it. I've heard friends who shared
Oh, yeah.
experiences like that.
Movies
Yeah,
made, series made about it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Like, you
Yep.
meet that person, but you that is not the person that you see you're gonna be spending your life with. And sometimes you meet a totally random person who is not your type, who is probably not at the same page as you now, but you kind of feel like you have the same vision for the future. So
Yeah.
maybe he's not your mate now, but, like, I don't know.
And you could cultivate it too. And
But that
I
doesn't
kind
mean
of,
any of them is a mistake because they could be right
yeah.
at a different time in your life.
That's true. That's true. And even if you consider like maybe mistake not to be the right term, but like it wasn't at the right time, right place, you still learn from that relationship. Then you become a
Absolutely.
different person to meet the person who's the right time, right place.
Absolutely. And that's why I think, like, even with Lucian, like, even if he's not the perfect mate for Elaine, I don't see him as a mistake. I think he, was destined to be in her life at that moment for both of them to learn.
Yeah, I mean they're both healing from
Yes,
something.
yes.
Yeah.
Because even Lucian was able to kind of get out of that zone of just listening to Tamlin because
Yeah.
of that mate thing with Elaine. So it's like even if they're not endgame, he learned to be firm with his, like with what he needed to do or
Yeah.
what the right thing to do is. And then for Elaine as well, it's I think especially because she was supposed to marry the mortal guy, that
Yeah.
now she understand what being with someone actually means.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I challenge that
Absolutely.
perspective of like having a wrong person.
Okay. You've convinced me. You've convinced me. And we've
Oh,
and you know we've had this conversation multiple times.
yes, yes. I want to go back to the timeline thing because that is also a theme that I feel very strongly for. I could get antsy. Like sometimes we want to get to the finish line right away.
Oh, so like deadlines.
No, but just like, oh, let's say with her writing, like it would be okay for her to take 10 years, even 90 years.
Right. Yeah.
But sometimes it's, like we get into this zone of like, I want to be this and I want to be this in the next year.
Mhm.
It's it's so funny, like just a person who is just in it for the work itself and not for the result.
Oh yeah. It's so beautiful to see, especially in today's world.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
regardless how long it would take.
Yeah.
Have you ever, like, when you were thinking that, did you ever think of anything that you want in your life that you feel like, I feel like that in this specific thing?
Not yet. And I want to find that. I want to find that. I mean, like reading makes me feel that sense of joy for sure, but it's not I'm not being productive out of reading. I'm a
Right.
consumer. So I want to find the thing
We
that
are
I'm
consumers.
productive for. We are consumers. Well, I guess we're also producers in the sense of we create this content.
Right.
Thank you for supporting us, everyone. But I I would love to find that thing that I wake up every morning being like, this is my passion project for the rest of my life, and it doesn't matter if anyone affirms it, as long as I get to continue doing this. And that's
Mhm.
how she feels about her writing, and it's so beautiful to see. And we were talking about this even before her interview, where we were like, she has a vision for what she wants, and she's going to take her own time to do it. And this interview just affirmed that perspective of her. So the fact that so much of her soul is, and so much of her character, like her own personal character, is integrated into the way she tells stories, speaks volumes about her as a writer and as a person.
Yeah. Alex and her talked about when you find yourself wanting to do something and the people around you rejects the idea, the more likely that it's actually like a life-changing thing.
Yes,
And I kind of needed to hear that.
me too. Me too. I'm glad you reminded me of that because that did hit me. I think I wrote it, but you reminding me of that makes me think about like even just earlier this week, like my mom being like, "Well, what are you doing right now? Like, what's going on? Like, what's your plan?" And to not be able to answer that at 33 years old, young me would have been like, yeah, you're supposed to have everything figured out no later than 30. Like 30 is like the ultimate, penultimate. Like you should be done, basically set. And now I'm 33. I'm like, I don't even know what the heck I want to do tomorrow. And her saying that was like, it's okay. Like that might mean that this is a rift moment in my life where something big is gonna happen. And
Yeah.
like she describes how characters just walk into the story unexpectedly. I feel like that is gonna come to me. And I'm gonna
Yes.
yeah. How about you?
Yes. I before I share what I think about it, I would want to share this thing that affirms what you just said. I've read this book again. Sorry, guys, it's a self-help or like,
Keep going. No need to apologize.
but there's this idea that for magic to happen, you need to leave a few percentage out of 100%, like a room for the magic to happen. Like we could only do as much, we could only control as much as we can, but leaving that room for something to spark is also important. And I think, just for context, because when you say like you're 33 and
$33.
when you said you're 33 and you don't know what the heck you're doing the next day, well, it's not really entirely true because I feel like in your 20s, you also, you were working a lot, like you had a career, a great career, but maybe this is not nothing. Maybe it's just a pullback so that something can spark right now that would happen for the next era of your life. So
Yeah.
I guess, like, I just don't want you to think that and I know you don't think it's a negative thing, but it's just a little bit more, kind of push in the positive direction that it's not just figuring it out, but it's making room for that magic to happen.
Yes, I love the way you put that.
Yeah. Because it's one
Yeah.
thing to, like, find, like, say that, "Oh, I'm finding that thing." But what if you're not finding it?
Right.
Like, what if
That's a
you're
lot.
making room in your life because you need room because what's coming to find you is that big?
Wow. That's deep. That's deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
think,
that
yeah.
analogy makes so much sense to me because of Tog. That yeah. And you
Yep.
can't
So,
deplete it. You'll burn out. Like you can't
absolutely. Like, sometimes you
yeah.
need to lose a part of who you are to make space for something new.
Right. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So for me, I think I've always been the person to always go for the hardest things I could think of. And sometimes I even, like, question myself, like, "Why am I even doing this?" Like, I could have settled for something that seems easier or at least more direct in a sense that, "Oh, like, I could probably, like, take on this career and go to work and earn the money and be stable." But I always seem to see myself being in the middle of a thing that is always a question mark all the freaking time. And I'm like, can I just like choose something that's like stable? And I think I could see that like
I can see that.
and
I can see
yeah,
that.
like but
Yeah.
the thing is like that's just how my mind works. Like I have always been so ambitious. And like I always think of the unthinkable. Like I always want to create new things. I always want to create and create something that has like never been done before. And I know that it's a question mark out there, but and it's scary. And lately I have been very anxious, but I think that is exactly what I needed to hear to affirm, that question mark inside me that yeah, maybe the reason why it's making me anxious is because it might actually be a big thing that is sort of, have never been heard before, but could I don't know, but could change the course of like whatever, right? And
Right.
yeah. So I think I'm ready to revisit that project that I have that I've been
Okay.
kind of like in a break from. But then again, it's also respecting that time, right? Like you see, like
Yes.
if I didn't put in the time to really just take a break and like rest, then I probably wouldn't find myself in this position to like watch this podcast and realizing these things because everything happens for a reason and it's kind of like sort of connected,
Right.
like the
Right.
ebb and the flow. You have to be present in both.
Yes. That's a good point. Yeah, same thing with me. If I hadn't taken the break from my career that I am now, I wouldn't have started reading with you. I wouldn't have listened to this podcast. We wouldn't be doing this podcast. Like it's all culminating into maybe something that doesn't like go on for years and years, but it's
Right.
something that we need at this very moment.
Absolutely. Right. Because even like with us meeting, like it was a totally different thing.
Mhm. Totally different.
Totally different
Pageantry.
pageantry.
Pageantry in books? Like,
And
we were just
fantasy
talking
books?
earlier.
And
Huh?
fantasy
We were just
money
talking
books.
earlier. Who would have like I like just looking at your pageant profile or you looking at my pageant profile, we would have never thought that we were both interested in books like this much to make a
Yeah.
podcast on it. Yeah,
Mhm, mhm.
exactly.
Yeah, and it also is a like, I don't know if you ever thought of, like, pageant journey as well when that concept came up.
I think it did cross my mind. But I would say like what crossed my mind even more is like what's next? Like it almost made me excited because these last few months or even year I've really been doing a lot of reflection in order to like let go. And this interview made me think about what's to come. It made me feel hopeful. So
Okay.
yeah, like pageantry is not ended yet for me, but like it's nearing there, right? And so then I start thinking about what's next and not in the way that I used to before where I would think about like, oh, oh my God, this is coming to an end. Like, what am I gonna do?
Mhm.
It's not anxiety inducing anymore. From now on, it's like, oh, ebb and flow. Like there's something more to come. I'm making space for that next thing.
I think for me, it was more of, like, a question mark too, of, like, what do I feel passionate about that I know I could do until I'm 9 years old, regardless of the result? And I think I know my answer.
Wow.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
I think you already know.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's talk about theories.
Okay. Well, go ahead.
It seems like we're getting a new POV for the next ACOTAR book. Who do you think it
Mhm.
would be?
Well, since we haven't read the last book available yet, I think the last book is Nesta, right?
I
So
think so.
then, yeah. So maybe Elaine then?
I have a feeling that I don't know where this is coming from,
Okay.
but I have a feeling it's Azriel's.
Oh, that would be nice because we get so little of his perspectives because he's so quiet and reserved.
Mhm, mhm.
Okay, I can see that. I can see that. Now we're gonna start getting a introverted person's POV. Oh, I like. I like. Next question. Do you think she will actually publish the All-Star series?
Seeing her answer it, I don't think she will.
Okay.
I think what she's gonna do is wrap up one of the ongoing series with a really big ending. And I have a feeling that the last ACOTAR would have the characters there.
So basically like a mini version of the All-Star series.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's like sort of like how they did it in Avengers.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So then if she's wrapping it all up, is she going to create a whole new universe?
No, I think she like a whole new world, basically.
Yeah,
I don't know.
right?
But it might be coming for the next books of ACOTAR might be so big that they would need help from the other worlds.
Got it.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
think I didn't see enthusiasm from her to actually create a new series.
Wait, so does that mean you think she's done? Like as an author?
I think she's gonna self-produce her shows.
Okay. I'm not okay. I'm actually torn about whether I'd rather her continue writing new series as an author or adapting her own because I want both. I'm greedy.
I think that she might be done with the universe. If she ever writes again, it will be like a new phase.
Like a whole new genre then.
Not really, but like just a whole like a new phase. Like it's like
Not this universe
not
she's
this
creating.
parallel. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
I hope
But
so. I would love that though. I would love it.
when she said she's like when we say that she's taking back her power, she's not gonna put that power in your box somewhere.
That's true. You're right.
She's
Of course
not.
she wouldn't.
She won't. What is
No,
that like for keeps?
and then what was going through well, then what was the point of going through all the effort to like get all the rights back if she wasn't gonna do something with it too?
It's also more of like you are ending this, like you are writing and ending this ACOTAR series for us because she's also making space for something new. again, we're connecting that to, like, making space, right, in our lives.
Right, right.
And she could totally self-produce that.
Well, yeah, she would pour her heart and soul into it just like she has with the books itself.
Mhm. Yeah.
I would love to see that. And she was talking about eras of herself. That's a whole new era for her.
Mhm.
I would love that.
Yeah.
It hit deep. Overall, just it hits so deep. I
Mhm.
love her.
I know, me too. And this is the type of person that you just wanna cheer for, so
Yes.
I know that she's already successful, but I hope that, success continues to flow to her.
She deserves it. She deserves
Yeah,
everything and more.
yeah. Regardless of however she wants to move forward, right? Like, whether it's writing more books or producing her shows, whatever
Or
it is.
neither.
Or neither, or even, like, retiring and, like, focusing on
Yeah.
family life, right. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be so happy for her anyway. I'd be devastated for myself if we didn't get
Yeah,
anything
I mean,
else,
that's what yeah.
but I'd be so happy for her.
I have a question. Last question of the night.
Yes.
Okay. We established that your favorite series to date is Throne of Glass. But if the last book of ACOTAR has that all stars, which one would be your favorite?
It'd still be Throne of Glass.
Really?
The characters, the female characters, Selena's journey, there's no comparison. All Stars would be really cool though, but how about you?
I think it would be Throne of Glass. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that it's enough. Like, I'm contented with it. That if we ever see that all stars, it's just going to be a bonus.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I'll see
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
It's just a bonus. I mean, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. The bonus.
the bonus.
Well, okay, besties.
Thank you to all who joined us for the live stream again. Like, that was so fun. Girls' night!
I know we have to do more of that,
We
so
do.
stay tuned. We'll
Stay
be back.
tuned.
And then next
Bye.
episode on Wednesday next week.
Oh, and something special announcement in
Oh,
between.
yes. All right. Bye, besties.
Bye.